Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. So it has been a day, basically a little bit over 24 hours since Redsec has come out, the battle royale for Battlefield. And I wanted to throw together a video, my opinions on the game. We kind of put it together on stream, put our brains together and kind of figured out just like general opinions. And I basically have it separated into two things. What did well for the battle royale and what isn't. I think at the end, I'll probably actually, no, we won't compare it to Warzone yet. I think we need to give it some time for that, but I'll give you my thought on this game and where I think it's going to go in the next month or two by the very end. I'll give you my final opinion. But the simple thing and the simple way to look at this game is if you took Blackout from Black Ops 4 and it had a baby and its parents were Warzone and Apex Legends, you'd get Redsec. Because there's elements of Apex, like the way that you drop in, things like that. Even some of the looting, I think, is very similar to Apex. There's very, very clear things that are the same as Warzone. And then Blackout, it's kind of like the map and the feel of the game, I think, are kind of Blackout. Now, there isn't really anything in this BR that's gonna like make you go, wow, this is exciting, fresh, and new. I would say, like, if I was to list off like 2 or 3 things that this has that other games don't, destruction in a BR would probably be number 1, and then the vehicles like tanks and things like that. It doesn't do anything exceptional over these other BRs that are already out there, but I think the reason why it's doing well right now is because it's a breath of fresh air. It's something new. It's something that everyone can hop into all at once. It's free to play. Battlefield actually did a good BR as opposed to the last one that they did, which was a mess at launch. And speaking of which, that'll get us right into the good things. So the first good thing for this battle royale is optimization. It hasn't crashed once for me. There is a lot of bugs. There's quite a few bugs. I had like a crate that like tipped up on its side and then like smashed up against the wall, randomly dying to like one thing we're going to talk about is fall damage, things like that. There's a lot of bugs, but the optimization, the game runs really, really well. And in this one day, which is going to be like the busiest the servers ever are, I've had less lag than I've had the entire previous year in Warzone. So that's a huge, huge positive. Now, getting into like the actual gameplay, I think you got to start with the gunplay. Gunplay feels really good to a point where the bloom and certain weapon mechanics that are in Battlefield 6, I think actually make more sense in the Battle Royale than they do in the multiplayer. Like, I think the bloom thing that has caused such an uproar in the Battlefield community makes way more sense in the BR because it's actually a way of controlling TTK at long ranges. Because if you could just like the recoil on weapons in this game is pretty low. So if you could just beam people across the map, there would be no point to use a sniper rifle. So you introduce bloom and now that's balanced. But in multiplayer, it just feels messy. Whereas in BR, it feels like it makes sense. I don't know if I'm making sense in saying that, but needless to say, the gunplay, in my opinion, in this battle royale makes a lot of sense, feels really good, and I think they did a really good job with making that feel good. Now, the other way, the way that loot works in this game is another thing. So there's 2 ways to get loot. Number 1, you run around and open up chests, and number 2, you find dead bodies or you kill people. Then when you find a weapon, say I find a gray weapon, I then can either find a better weapon that's green or blue or purple or gold. And if I find those, they have more attachments on them, which means they have better stats, better recoil, a larger magazine, things like that. Or I can find upgrades and upgrade my current weapon. I really like that system. Now, there's another way of getting better loot, and that's completing the missions. Now, these missions can vary from picking up a piece of intel, throwing it into a drone, it goes away, and then a crate drops down and you get better items. Some of which can be tanks. Now, so basically what happens is you get a tank key card, you bring it to the tank station, you put it into the tank station, and then you get a tank. And the tank is very powerful. And obviously you can shoot people with it. It has limited ammo, and honestly, I think it's pretty decently balanced. Now that might have me catch some flack. I think it could have a little bit less health, but having to go back and get ammo for it is a really good way of balancing it. And if vehicles are a way that they want to separate this battle royale from other battle royales, I think that's okay. Like having a moment where you drive a tank straight through a 2-story building, the whole building collapses around you and it brings out a camper is pretty fun. But just balancing that to a point where even in duos or specifically in solos, we'll talk about that in a second, when they eventually add it, I think there's a reason why they didn't add solos. If you get a tank in solo, one person taking out a tank, especially if that person is using engineer, is very, very difficult. So I think that tank balance is going to be very important for the health of this game moving forward. And speaking of which, adding just duos and quads at launch, I get it. They want to make sure the game works and everything, but I think we've seen it time and time again with games. Not having solos at launch is a really big mistake. So I'm sure they'll add it. I don't know when. But moving forward, like I said, with the tanks, destruction has to be one of the 2 best things about this battle royale. That the destruction, being able to blow up literal skyscrapers in the middle of downtown. If someone's camping on one of those, calling in an airstrike, the whole thing collapses, they have to jump off. That's fun. It makes for really, really good moments. But also the zone, the fact that if the zone just touches you, you're dead, is really cool. The fact that you have like a little arrow, red arrow with that shows where it's coming, and it gives you like a countdown of how many meters this zone is away. And at all times, from the very beginning of the game to the very end of the game, you can outrun the zone, but it's constantly pushing you in. I think they did a really, really good job with the zone. And then the final thing, the last thing that kind of sets this apart from other battle royale games is the classes. And the zone doesn't stop. Yeah, that's another good point, Gibbs. The zone keeps moving in. So it's not like where there's like sections. It's like, oh, in 3 minutes, this starts to move in. Oh, in 2 minutes, this starts to move in. It just starts and it closes, which like makes more sense with what it is. It's a forest fire. It doesn't like check its clock. Oh, it's time to start moving. I just checked in for my shift. But the classes. So the assault, engineer, support, and recon classes all have their places. If you're running recon, you need to be running a sniper rifle. You need to be spotting people. You have a little drone where you can like scout ahead for your team. If you're running engineer, you're either driving a tank or you're taking out tanks. If you're support, you're throwing down ammo bags. It's the way to keep up ammo. And if you're assault, well, you can shoot things and destroy walls. I think assault's probably the weakest class and has the least use, but it does make assault rifles a little bit better. So that's like its one redeeming factor. Now, that's a lot of positives. There's also some negatives. Audio. I think the audio is pretty weak for a battle royale. A lot of the time I'm like, I didn't hear where that person was coming, or it was even at a point where I thought like someone was walking towards me. They're actually coming behind me, things like that. Audio needs some work. Vehicle audio needs some work. I mean, all battle royales I feel like have this problem. Like they launch and then it's like, okay, they really need some work on this. Visibility is an interesting one because I've seen you guys are saying audio is horrible. Yeah, so one thing that if you haven't done this is a good point. I should probably say this. I'm probably gonna end up having a tips video on this game mode because I feel like it's really like needs it. Like there's a lot of intricate details that would really help you guys out with the game. But audio, I had my audio on stereo and I was using a headset. And I could not, like, literally at one point, Jordan, like Espresso and I, had our headsets on backwards because it gave us better audio than it normally would. So I switched my audio from stereo to headset and immediately 100 times better. Quiet and harder to hear certain things, but better. So the audio needs some work nonetheless. Visibility is the next one. I have this on the negatives. If someone's laying in a bush or laying in a corner or laying in a dark spot, you're just not going to see them. Like, just give this game, because everyone's in the honeymoon phase right now. Like, right? Like I said at the very beginning, this game's a breath of fresh air. Like we've been playing Warzone or Apex or PUBG for 5+ years. And this is like a fresh version of it. Like we have vehicles, we have classes, like there's a new map to learn. There's new gameplay mechanics. It's fun, but give it some time. An issue like visibility will become a thing, but at the same time, people were saying, well, if a tank comes, you have to use that visibility to your, like you got to hide. You got to get in that bush and hope it doesn't see you or things like that. And there's ways to counter it with like recon and spotting and things like that. But I think visibility could be made a little bit easier. Armor. Now, this is a hot topic. When I first started playing, I thought the armor and the plating was too slow. Now that I've played more, I don't think it is. I think only having 2 armor plates and then the speed at which you plate is okay. But if you were playing quads, I think there could be a little bit more armor on the map. Duos, it feels okay. I think solos, it'll be completely fine. But playing quads, we were just constantly running out of armor. You'd get in a gunfight. Okay, I need armor. Well, we've looted all of the crates in the area. That's the main thing. You find stuff in the crates. That I think you could up a little bit, specifically if you adjust the amount of armor you find. Maybe like in a crate, instead of 1 armor, you find 2 armor in quads, something like that to fix it, I think would work really well. One thing that's super inconsistent is fall damage. I'm sure like we experienced it a few times on stream today. You can drop like 5 feet and literally die from fall damage. I don't exactly know why, but sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes your character rolls and you're completely fine. One-Eyed Reaper, thank you for the 2 months of Prime. You are an absolute legend. And then we have custom loadouts. So this is another hot topic. I'm going to say it. Come here. Come here. I think the game would be better without custom loadouts. I actually do, after playing it for a couple days here. The loadouts are good. They're interesting. It gives people an area to go fight over. That's good. But honestly, like the way that you loot in this game and having to find like the either a higher level loot or just the rarity bags that upgrade your weapon, I think feels a lot better and a lot more RNG, and each game feels different when you're doing that as opposed to going and getting a weapon. Now, I think it's better than Warzone where you get a full loadout, all your whole kit, 2 weapons. This time you get 1 weapon. You can go to another loadout drop thing and get another weapon, but I truly believe like the loot system in this, I think, is pretty good. Like it's something on my positive list. Like opening a chest and being like, ooh, an assault rifle level. Now I have a purple assault rifle. Now I'm a little bit better. Now I have a larger magazine. I like that. And I think it's a really good way of not having to loot individual attachments, but rather just find this one loot, and then it like kind of gives you the option between 2 different attachments. I think that's really good. I think it's a really good system. I think it's, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I think it's better than the blackout system, because having to like be like, oh, well, was that a 4-time scope or a 3-time scope, or being able to be like, okay, I upgrade my weapon, I choose between these 2 things, and that's what it is. Your first one, you upgrade a scope. Your second one, you either do precision or you do extended mags. I think it's a really good system. So to have your loadouts be in there, I feel like it just takes away from the overall mechanics of the Battle Royale. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Also, looting. I think looting, we kind of had a debate about this. I think looting could be a little bit easier. I think it's okay laid out when you open the chest. Sometimes if I don't want, like, say, a weapon and there's another item on the bottom, sometimes it won't let me pick up that bottom item unless I pick up the weapon. That's a problem. When I kill someone, sometimes all the loot drops on top of each other. It's better than like Warzone 2 was, for example. I'll bring that up in a minute. And then the map and inventory. So the backpack system's okay. It's not really needed to open unless you've picked up a weapon level and then you're using it. That's really the only time I open up my backpack, or if I'm dropping something for a teammate. That works pretty intuitively, especially if you're on mouse and keyboard. The map, pinging on the map doesn't work sometimes. Live pinging doesn't. The pinging system needs some work. That's one thing that doesn't work very well. But you open up the map and the map's not centered. It's like if this is your screen, like my hand's the screen, I'll open up the map and the map will be like over here or like over here. And I'm like, why isn't it not centered? Like I didn't do anything to do that. That's another really solid point. The map's beautiful. Like the map itself, the aesthetics of the map is gorgeous. It's bright and vibrant, and at the same time dark and disturbing, and that zone moves in and it's scary. The map is gorgeous. The map is absolutely gorgeous. I should have mentioned that in the positive things. Thank you for bringing that up. So I've seen some people say some things, and I think some of the Battlefield community is a little bit mad that some of the resources for Battlefield 6 got taken off of Battlefield 6 and brought in to the BR. And honestly, it makes sense. The BR is pretty good. And some of the mechanics, like the weapon systems, like destruction, for example, like the large scale map, are better than what is in multiplayer right now. And I think that is making some people who just want to play a good multiplayer a little bit frustrated. But I think if we're being completely honest, if they didn't make the BR, I don't think they would have put more effort into multiplayer. I think they just wouldn't have hired an extra studio to work on the BR. Quite honestly, like as a comparison to Call of Duty, if they didn't make the BR, they wouldn't put more effort into the main game. They just wouldn't have Raven, for example. I think that makes sense. Now, the one thing that I see, and I saw it from Charlie Intel, is that people are comparing this BR to Warzone 2. And I think it makes sense. Like if you remember some of the mechanics from Warzone 2, it was like the extra recoil when shooting, the new backpack mechanics, slower movement, a lot of the things that line up with this. But the difference is this is Warzone 2 if Warzone 2 was done correctly. Right? If you take those mechanics and make them make sense, you have Redsec. I think we're making sense here. I think we're making sense. So that's kind of where I'm going on this one. As far as my thoughts moving forward, I'm going to be continuing to play this. We also have Arc Raiders, and then we have Call of Duty. So I am going to get pulled away from this one for a while. But when I want to play a battle royale, and this is like the easiest way I can point this out, is right now, if I'm going to go play a battle royale, it's going to be Redsec. Now, I don't always want to play a battle royale. Most of the time, I want to play like a campaign or a story, or maybe it's just to hop in some multiplayer. If I want to play multiplayer, I'll either hop in Battlefield 6 right now or the new Call of Duty when it comes out. If I want to play a battle royale, right now, that battle royale, for now, is going to be Redsec. Now, the question is how long does that last? Because right now, the player numbers are great. I think it's sitting at around 400 and something thousand on Steam. The Twitch numbers are around 160 something thousand, I think. Drops are on, so keep that in mind. The player numbers, the viewers are good, but does it stay like that? And this is going to be the question. Did we just need a new and exciting BR and people were hankering for a new BR, or are people done with BRs? I think we will find both after Arc Raiders comes out and after Call of Duty comes out. What are the player numbers sitting at? Where's people's attention? What are people doing? Are players just going to go in, play Redsec as a one-off, and then go back into Battlefield 6 multiplayer? What are people playing? I think in a month from now, like mark it on your calendars, November 29th, we will know if Battle Royales are dead or not. But for now, pretty decent. The tweet that I tweeted yesterday is much better than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like a Operation Firebreak. I always say that. Operation Firestorm 2.0 kind of thing. And it's much, much better than that. So pleasantly surprised. I'm definitely going to be streaming it more. Definitely going to be playing it more. And also interested to see where support goes. The other thing too is if they update their map well more than Verdansk does, that's huge, right? Like they need to learn from Warzone's mistakes. And as of now, they haven't, because they didn't launch with solos. They have a bunch of the bugs that Warzone used to have. Like, for example, if you're out in a sunny place and they're in a dark interior, you can't see them. If you're in the dark interior looking into the sunny outspace, you can't see them. Warzone had that problem for like a year and a half, maybe longer, right? So they need to learn from Warzone and be like, we're not making the same mistakes. And so far, they kind of have. But yeah, you're saying an 8.7 out of 10. I think that's a little too high. I think like a 7 point. It would sound better if I said 6.7, but I think like a 7.6 out of 10. Like 7's good. It's a little bit better than good, like my tweet said. But there's room for improvement, and it's what happens in the long run where this is going to be decided. I think that's pretty straightforward.